Thank you guys for coming in. I know some folks are popping in slowly but surely coming in. So again, we're going to get started. You should know by now, my name is Deontay Copeland. I'm CEO, Executive Director, National High School Basketball Association. And these ladies right here with me, introduce yourselves.
Hey everybody, my name's Shelby. I'm an intern with NHSBA. It's nice to see everybody again.
I'm Sydney. I'm also an intern with the NHSBA, and I'm glad you're all here.
And I am also an intern. My name is Kennedy Jones. Thank you, everyone who tuned in tonight.
Definitely, and like I always say before, if you haven't before, like our pages, our social media pages, Facebook, the National High School Basketball Association, Instagram, NHSBA 06, Twitter, the NHSBA, and YouTube, the NHSBA. We have a special speaker here tonight. We have Mr. Josh Derman with EA Sports. He's a commercial brand partnerships person. And also want to remind you guys, if you have any questions or anything for Josh, make sure you send that via chat to Sydney. We'll get a chance to go to you as far as questions in just a few minutes and kind of go from there. And also make sure you have your screens on as well so we can kind of see when you have a question who's speaking to Josh. So Josh, I want to start off with you myself. I have a question. It's basically, can you explain kind of what your job entails with your role at EA Sports?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much. It's great to be here, and I really appreciate it. So what I do at EA Sports and EA is I'm on the global brand partnerships team. And what that means is a few different things. So at EA, we have 3 different buckets, I guess, that we can sell to advertisers. The first is when most of you have games on your phone and you're playing along and you see those annoying ads that come up. Those are the ads that we sell. Amazingly enough, a lot of our players like those ads because if you actually engage with that ad, we at EA, some other games companies don't, but at EA, we reward you with something. So what that means is if you watch that video to the end, you'll get something that is valuable for that game you're playing. So for instance, if you're playing Madden mobile and you watch an ad from Gatorade or from Pizza Hut, at the end, you'll get stamina. And in Madden mobile, stamina allows you to continue to play to get your best player, your favorite player, Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. So the rewarded video is a really kind of a core thing that we sell. The next is sponsorships. So within each game, whether it's mobile or those games that you're playing on your PC or Xbox or PS5, we sell advertising and sponsorships within those games. So really what we try to do at EA is we want to take the real life game, so Madden, NFL, or FIFA, or NHL, and put that in virtually. So if you're watching an NFL game on Sundays or Mondays, you see things on the sidelines like Microsoft has the Surface, or you'll see the players drinking Gatorade bottles. We try and put that into the game to be as lifelike as possible. So one of my roles is to work with those brands to put those into the games so that when you're playing the game, you feel like you're actually at an NFL stadium. And the third bucket that we have here is our esports. So we run 3 separate esports leagues. One is for NFL Madden, which is called our Madden Championship Series, our FIFA Global Series, and then one that I'm not sure if a lot of people are familiar with is our Apex Legends, which is a new game, and it's very much like a Fortnite or a Call of Duty, where it's a battle royale. And we have the ability with brands to sell advertising within those esports games and leagues and productions to work with our brands to put them into the game. So if you're watching Madden MCS, you could see the Snickers play of the game, or you could see the Snickers Players Lounge and things like that. FIFA, you can see them playing with the Adidas ball. That's how we try and put sponsorships into the games. That again makes sense because if you're watching a soccer game on TV or if you're watching a NFL game on TV, you see these products in the game. So we try and make it as lifelike as possible, whether it's mobile, esports, or just if you're playing it on your console.
Also, I just want to make it clear I'm a huge Apex Legends fan. So
Amazing.
much love, much love.
Amazing.
I just wanted to ask, what do you think are some advantages of youth involvement in the video game industry?
That's a great question, and we get that a lot. We talk with a lot of brands and advertising agencies, and youth is really where they want to be. And I think from our perspective, not from a sales perspective, but from our game. So each individual game has a team. So Madden has a team, Apex has a team, and we really do a lot of research in trying to figure out what youth players like. So do they like when we put in advertising that is rewarded? Do they like when we try and have simulate real life, or do they want to have it in something that's different? And how many times do they like to have tournaments run? Do they like them on the weekends? And really try and figure out what is core to our youth and also to all of our players, because what we're doing at EA is we're players first. We're never going to do anything that interrupts your play, because you guys are our customers, you are our fans. So if you don't like something, if you don't like an advertisement coming up at this time, we in real time will take that down, because we know that you guys are our core. So from a youth perspective, we don't want to do anything that wouldn't be wouldn't help that demographic want to play our games, right? So if we're doing something in FIFA or Apex that that demographic may say, oh, I don't know, that's not interesting, and they're going to move on, we would never want that. We want them to grow up with us. So we're always trying to refine what we do, and that is a huge core of what we do, and making sure that all of our players, but especially the youth, are engaged and enjoying what we're doing.
So I'm really glad that you guys are really involved with the youth, and we talked about what all your career entails, but I would like to know what led to you being in this career field.
Great question. So I started off playing sports my whole life and really being interested in sports. And when I got to college, I was trying to figure out what interested me. I liked being at school. I liked being with all my friends and being outside the house, but of my parents. But what was going to keep me interested? And I went to Bowling Green State University in Ohio, and they had a huge sports management program. And that was something that was able to keep my attention and really keep me interested, because it was still in sports, which I love, but it was also, a way for me to graduate. So really what I did was I was able to get a lot of different internships and really try to figure out what I like to do. So I worked in minor league baseball, I worked in hockey, I worked in basketball, and just trying to figure it out and just trying to understand the industry, because I had, I was new to it, and then try to figure out what I like. And as I started to progress in my career, I was able to understand that I like sponsorships. I like putting the deals together. I like working with brands, and I was really lucky to work for a really great company or a great organization, I should say, at the Olympic Committee in the United States Olympic Committee, and really working to understand how to work with international brands and really create good partnerships internationally and in the US. And then that led me to being able to get to EA, where we're doing that globally, because we have a lot of games that are seen throughout the world. EA, FIFA, our NBA live game, Madden is starting to get a little bit larger, and then Apex Legends is huge internationally. So it was a career progression that allowed me to really understand what I liked, which was sponsorship, and then which led me to EA.
So Sydney, do we have any questions from anybody so far?
We do. Josiah. Josiah's free to go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. Hi. Hey, y'all.
Hi.
Okay. So my question was, what are some everyday challenges that you face in your profession?
There's a few. I think the one major one is making sure that we're doing things. So whether we're selling sponsorships or we're talking to our players, that is going to resonate with our players. So what I mean by that is I don't want to work with a company that may do something that our players won't like. Just because they're going to give us, a sponsorship and spend money with us. I want to make sure that we're doing things correctly. And we get a lot of times where a lot of brands will, and people will reach out to us saying, well, you're EA, we'd love to work with you. And it's a challenge to have to explain to them why we can't or why we might not be able to. And just trying to work through that because, you don't want to say no because people are, working hard to want to work with us. But a lot of the times it may not make sense. So that's the biggest challenge and probably the thing that I face pretty much every day.
Definitely, man. I want to say myself personally, I've always played video games growing up. I always played NBA Live. I bet you I had every NBA Live game there was from Super Nintendo to PlayStation to all those brands, Madden too. So yeah, so myself, I definitely played the games growing up. But I guess my question for you personally is like, did you see yourself when you're in high school and college actually doing what you're doing right now?
It's a great question. No, to be honest with you, I didn't. I think in high school, I definitely thought that I would be playing sports. I played sports in high school. I played hockey and baseball. And, I think I thought I was better than I was. So I thought I would go to college and play. And then, maybe not professionally, but always be involved as a coach or a player or something like that. And then as I started to get through college, I realized that there was a whole nother world, as I was talking about earlier, in sports management. And, maybe I can't be a player or a coach or on the field, but I can be still involved in it. I can still have an impact. And I think I really saw that happen when I was at the Olympics, but I never realized that when I was coming up until I got to college, until I got to maybe my second or third year when I was like, oh, wow, I could have a career and still be in sports, but not necessarily playing or coaching or being on the field, but I could still be involved and still have that passion that we all feel when we have sports and how it changes you and how you want to be competitive and have that drive.
Awesome. Sydney, I think we have another question in the chat, so I'm going to give my question over to you.
Yes, we do. We have another one from Josiah.
Okay. My second question, what's like the biggest factor that's helped you become successful?
That's a great question. And I think for me, it's, we were talking about this the other day in one of my meetings, and I think it's just always being open to a new challenge and being open to doing anything. So I really learned that when I was coming up, working in minor league baseball and in minor league hockey, where your job is to do something, but because there's not a large staff and there's, a lot of things going on, you may be asked to do certain things. So a good example is I was working in the marketing department for a baseball team, and it was raining one day and they asked us to pull the tarp onto the field. And I think for me, understanding that wasn't a crazy ask, that was just because I worked there and I want to make sure that everyone, to get the job done. I think that really helped me as I moved along in my career, and just understanding that, you're always be open to something, even if it's not what your job is or it's out of your comfort zone. And it allows you to then learn more about the organization and learn more about what you might like to do. But it also just shows everyone else that you're a team player, so that when you need help or you need some resources from the rest of the organization, they know that you're there, that they can be there for you.
That's some really good advice. I like how you worded that. We do have another question from Efrance. If you want to go and ask your question.
I'm sorry about that. I was trying to come off mute.
Oh, it's okay.
So one of the questions is, the way things move in today's industry so fast, and people are all industries always looking, forward. What part of the industry do you think the youth today should be looking forward to try to look into as making a career, as in trying to get into EA? So what part of the industry that's kind of hidden right now, or that's going to be looking to get stronger in the future, that the youth will probably start looking at right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it's tough to kind of say what industry, but I would say it's content. It's having them be able to create maybe their own content, or being comfortable working and coming up with ideas around content, because I know for us, it's, you know, we have the game and that's great. And we only have a certain amount of people we can work with and only a certain amount of hours that we can put advertising in, but the content around the games are huge, and it's a huge opportunity for brands. So if there's an opportunity to be comfortable understanding how content works, how you can create content, how you can be creative around using it, I think that would be huge, because there's just not enough content around to be honest, to sell something, right? So if we're working with Gatorade and they're on the sidelines, but they also want something else, there isn't anything else for us to give them, because they already have what we could give them. But if there's other pieces of content, right? If they have an athlete that maybe is playing Madden that we could then showcase, or if there's something that they're doing on social media that we could showcase, then we can create more of a full package that allows us to showcase more of the brand. So I would say content is going to be huge, and we're just getting into it, and I think it will be huge in the next at least 3 to 4 years, if not beyond.
Awesome. I will go ahead and hand it over to Kennedy for now.
All right. So my question is, how has COVID affected the company? I'm sure it has affected you in your personal life, so you can talk about that as well, because it's definitely hit hard for everyone. So just go into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to put it on a positive spin, because I know everything is so crazy right now. So for personally, you know, I think for me, I have a 2-year-old, so it's been great to be home with him and see him walk and talk and grow. So that was great. But from a company standpoint, again, I'll keep it positive. So most of our esports events, from Madden to FIFA to Apex Legends, were all in person. So we would have, you know, tournaments in studios or in arenas around the country and around the world. What we had to do once COVID hit was we had to figure out how to create them virtually. So we had never done this before as a company. I think we thought about it, but we never actually did it. And this allowed us to figure out how to create online tournaments virtually throughout the world. And we were able to do that, and patting ourselves on the back, we did it very successfully, where, you know, we're now having a Madden tournament from these players' bedrooms. And the only difference is you can see their bed. Besides that, it's still the same. So, you know, for us, I think that was huge. It allowed us to go virtually, and it allowed us to now do a lot more things, a lot more tournaments, a lot more content. And as I said before, because now, you know, we're showing how, you know, the players aren't traveling, but they're working at home, and how we got them up and running. And it allowed us to do more tournaments. So now we're working with a lot of the NFL rookies, and they're playing some of their friends, and then we're playing with celebrities and they're playing with their friends, where maybe before they couldn't come to a tournament because, you know, the NFL season's going on, or you know, one of the celebrities is shooting a movie or having a shoot for something. But now we can send them the equipment and they can play for an hour or two and can go about their day. So I think for us, it was really taking a negative and turning it into a positive.
Awesome. I will go ahead and pass it to Deontay.
Well, Josh, man, hey, my thing is definitely. Actually, I forgot to ask a question about what are your upcoming games as far as with NBA Live? Do you guys have anything coming up with NBA Live? So I know the NBA season about to start up pretty soon. So, do you guys have anything that works for NBA Live right now?
Right now, that game's been pushed for another year, just because of the weirdness of the NBA season starting I think it's starting in December, or I think it's starting in December. So, or around Christmas, and it just, with our game launches, it didn't work. So we're going to push it back another year. But what we did do, because the game was pushed, we have NBA Live Mobile, which we're going to do an update to, and people and fans can play mobilely, because it's a little bit easier for us to update the players and everything from a mobile standpoint, and get things up and running quicker than from a HD or from a PC or Xbox game.
Awesome, awesome, man. I see some people just came in to the Zoom. Make sure you please chat those questions to Sydney so you can get you on there and ask your questions. So another question for myself is also over the years, like I said, just playing video games myself, you guys have changed a lot. I remember it was just like the mobile robot-like player to now being realistic as far as the description of what the actual players like. So how in depth do you guys like figure out kind of like the actual player, what they look like, to just their movement, kind of what all goes in that process? Do you know?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we have, I don't know if you guys have seen that we have actually people going out to training camp during the season and actually looking and scouting players. So that's the first thing, especially from a NFL perspective, which is, huge. So we have them going out there and being like a scout for a team. And then we have them coming into our headquarters. Well, I guess it's not really it's our Madden headquarters in Orlando, and really having them, come in and put on VR and augmented reality and put them through certain things so that we can get down their movements and we can get, how Gronk catches the ball or how Tom Brady throws the ball, and really getting it down to a science. We have a football field at our Orlando studio, and really creating it like a training camp so that before the game comes out, we have all of the information from something that you would see like a college coach or even a pro scout do to down to the technical part of it. So we really have the ability to create as lifelike as possible.
We have a couple more questions. We have one from Coach Perry and Portia, so I'll let Coach Perry go ahead and ask his question.
Hey, thank you for doing this today. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. This is great.
All right, my question is, this is the most important question is going to be asked here today, I'm sure. What's the ETA on NCAA football? That was my favorite game. When is it coming back, brother? Bring it back.
That is a question I get all the time. So I'll answer it this way. It's coming. It's in the works for an actual game. But what we did do in the meantime is, I don't know if everyone saw it, we have a partnership with IMG Learfield, where we're going to go through a bunch of colleges. And it's not the game, but it's going to be having those colleges play Madden and create Madden tournaments to get that excitement back for the game, which I know most people haven't lost. And then as we go through the next few years, COVID did unfortunately push a lot of our games back just because we haven't had the ability to be in the office. A lot of these games, a lot of stuff can be done virtually, but some game development stuff needs to be done in office just because of the technical stuff, and it's hard to bring all that hardware to people's houses. So I would say in the next, unfortunately, probably 3 to 4 years, you'll see it. But what we're trying to do is really get into colleges and create that exposure and that buzz with Madden, and then putting some really cool features in the not this Madden, but in the upcoming Madden that are college-like that I think you guys will like. But that's not for another year. So that's as much as I can say.
Well, I'm just gonna let you know, man. I'm here to volunteer any services I can give to help towards that development.
Okay, absolutely.
I keep my PS3 handy just for that.
I love it. That's great.
Oh, hi, it's Portia. I have a question on the academic aspect. So most majors in college, you have to take the GRE. Does yours, like sports management field, did you have to take the GRE?
That's a good question. So for I went to Bowling Green for undergrad, and for graduate school, I went to Northeastern and did sports management, and there was no requirement for that. And a lot of programs now are not requiring that. It just depends on that program. I think they're realizing that it's not necessarily what you get on a test score. It's kind of your experience, and that's really what Northeastern was looking for. Was my what have I done in my past that I could bring to the classes and in the discussion, much like we're having now, that would help. So they wanted diverse backgrounds. So, personally, my advice would be, can you volunteer at high schools or colleges and just get that experience so that you can put it on your resume so that you can stand out, would be huge, because that I personally think was what helped me get into my graduate program, was having worked at some of the minor league baseball teams and just having that diversity allowed me to talk in classes about my experiences where someone else had different experiences. So, I don't know all the programs that are having that, but I think having as much experience as possible might allow you to not be able to take that.
So would you say like maybe 100 and something hours maybe for like experience, or would you require like more?
That's a great question. I don't know about specific hours. I think it's kind of like what you're doing. So, can you go to like the local parks and rec and volunteer and things like that. I think it's more about your experience and what you're doing than the number of hours. But the more time you can do it, I think the better. Definitely. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, Josh, man, we're about to wrap up. So any final thoughts before we wrap up, before we run out of time?
Yeah, no, I just want to thank everyone. This was really great. If you have any, other questions, please let me know. And, I think that this is an awesome forum, and I really appreciate you guys having me. It was really great.
Yeah, and like I said, like Coach Perry said, we're looking forward to NCAA football coming out, and I'm looking forward to NBA Live coming out soon.
Absolutely. I know. I'll do what I can. I'll put the word in.
All right, man. Good talk to you. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Bye.
All right. Bye, y'all.